Michaela Vernava for Nesson.com here on Radio Row, and I'm joined now by longtime sports agent Leigh Steinberg and also CEO of Steinberg Sports and Entertainment. Mr. Steinberg, thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
Now, you've been managing athletes for a while now, and I'm curious, what are some of the challenges of athletes nowadays that you're facing that weren't such the case years back?
Well, when I started back in 1975, I had the very first pick in the first round of the draft, Steve Bartkowski. There wasn't even a field of representation then. Teams could hang up the phone and say, we don't deal with agents. So that's changed. But it's the advent of social media that never existed before, with the potential for players to get themselves into controversy. It's the erosion of public-private, so that the ubiquitous nature of the cell phone means that an athlete is on stage anywhere that he goes. The injury rate is much harsher now than it was before. You've got bigger, stronger, faster athletes, and the physics of the hit have changed so that concussions were up 58%. The specter of concussion is something that's sort of an existential threat in the middle of the most successful season that football ever had.
Well, it seems there are so many things that as an agent you have to manage, and social media, certainly a big one. We see guys sometimes getting into trouble if they are carted off with an injury and then they end up liking a photo on Instagram, using social media at inappropriate times, or like you said, getting themselves into trouble. As an agent, how do you help them and coach them and guide them so that they're using social media appropriately?
Prevention is the best way to go about it, so that before someone ever enters the field of sports, what you say to them is, look, you understand you're in a public entertainment and you're going to be held to higher standards than other people. And so if you don't want to behave appropriately in public, be careful in terms of how you use social media, be open with reporters, graciously sign autographs, then go play on a sandlot. No one will have any expectations, but you also won't be paid.
Well, managing off-field issues, I know, is something that you'll have to deal with as well. And in the public eye, athletes can get themselves into trouble. A guy like Johnny Manziel, who needs some help, how would you deal with that situation?
I think, again, preventively, you have to talk to him and say, look, do you want to be a Hall of Fame type player? Do you really want football? Because if you do, you have to put football first. So the problem is that when he did a whole series of endorsements and is entering a year in which he's probably not going to play his best football because he's adjusting, it puts so much pressure on him. Then when he poses with celebrities, it creates an environment and an image where it looks like he's not serious about football. You have to prove to your owner, front office, coach, and your other teammates that this is first for you. When you've achieved on the field, once Troy Aikman, Steve Young, Warren Moon, players I've worked with, or Ben Roethlisberger, like that, had achieved, then you can do endorsements. Then people are a little less critical. But until then, you had better just focus on building a football career.
Well, as you're guiding this player and helping him build a football career, how is that done, though? Do you set up a staff of a support system around him, or is it more personal interaction between yourself, the agent, and the athlete?
Again, it's making sure before they ever enter the whole scouting system that they've got their priorities set straight. They have so many different ways to get the right information, from players associations to the league itself to their own team, that all operate as a support network.
Well, Super Bowl week is quite an event, as we can see all around us. So much going on. And for these athletes, they're about to play in possibly the biggest game of their careers. And we've seen guys that this week can end up being their downfall. How do you, as an agent, manage athletes and making sure that these distractions don't negatively impact their performance in the game?
By emphasizing to them that they've spent their whole life preparing for this moment. Nothing is a bigger stage than the Super Bowl. It transcends the narrow genre of hardcore sports fans to reach out to America. So for an athlete, this is the premier marketing event. It's the premier marker of career achievement. So to party and spend time in dubious situations is not the key this week. Can an athlete go out to dinner? And yes, but usually what we would do is count back. So if the game's on Sunday, you'd count back Saturday, Friday, Thursday, and gradually taper down, so by the last couple of days you're just in your room.
Great. Mr. Steinberg, thank you so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.